What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Dermy Wormy, and I'm coming at you with another video, and we're talking Madam Web. That's right, Madam Web, which is a game blah, 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 blah. That's right, Madam Web, which is a movie that's supposedly coming out today on Valentine's Day. Screw Valentine's Day. You guys really want to make sure that your loved ones hates you and potentially breaks up with you, you take them over to Madam Web, because as of right now, Madam Web bombs at a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. But when you actually go to Rotten Tomatoes, as of right now, it is sitting at a 15% in critic reviews. And when you click on it and actually go to top critics, it's sitting at a whopping 10% of top critics actually enjoying this movie and actually going to see this movie. And when you actually come over here to the critics themselves, you're getting astounding responses from people that just don't like this movie. You know, you got Boston Globes giving a Rotten Tomatoes a rotten score, and as you start scrolling down, you see some actual interesting things like AV Club giving it a rotten score. AV Club being a super woke company, a very super woke publishing area, giving something a rotten score. You continue going down. We have Deadline Hollywood Daily giving it a rotten score. One of my favorite ones was Associated Press giving it a rotten score. Bleeding Cool gives it a rotten score. Movie Web rotten score. Movies and Munchies YouTube rotten score. And as you keep scrolling down, the Film Verdict, hey, it gave it a ripe score. But one of my favorite ones is Grace Randolph even gave it a rotten score. I believe IGN also gave it a very rotten score. Oh, here's the Rolling Stone giving it a rotten score, The Wrap giving it a rotten score. So many people are coming out and just giving this movie a rotten score. And I do know when you start scrolling over here, though, there's some actually cool things going on as well. Alan Ing from Film Thread. Shout out to Film Thread and Alan Ing. Awesome people. Alan Ing decided to tweet out the fact that he got his tickets for opening day of Madam Web. Nobody in the theater. Nobody's there. Absolutely nobody has hopes to go see this movie in the theaters. We scroll over here to Nerdrotic actually quote tweeting Alan Ing and decided to show off how many people are going to see his movie. Yeah, that's not a whole lot of people. He wants to sit right here, of course, but there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other people within his theater all around. And for those of you who don't know, Nerdrotic is in San Antonio. Like, he's in a big city, he's in a big area, and barely anybody's going to see the movie. We go over here to actually the Uber Geek. Shout out to the Uber Geek. Since considering there isn't another decent cinema around for 60 miles, you come over here to his actual like seats that are available. Again, it's pretty much filled up outright. It's pretty much filled up again. Not filled up, pretty much empty again. Barely anybody's there. Barely anybody's wanting to go to this thing. Barely anybody's wanting to see it. We come over here to this one as well. Here's one from Fandango from Tweeter Trash. You know how many people is going to see theirs? Nobody. Not a single person actually wants to go see this movie at their theater at all. And these posts are continuing to go around and around and around of more individuals actually wanting to post out, hey, how many people are going to see this movie? Hey, how many individuals are actually going to see this movie? Showing off all sorts of different posts as to how empty these theaters actually are. But on top of that, it doesn't shock me. It doesn't shock me one bit that any of these things are happening, because this movie doesn't look good. This movie doesn't look actually good. And you have the main character played by I just had her freaking name a little bit ago, but the main character, the actress playing her, is going around actually kind of disparaging the movie, talking about how the movie's garbage, how it's not going to be a good movie. She's even fired her whole agency, you know, the agency that helps her get her roles and stuff. She fired that agency, dropped it outright, because they implied that maybe she was going to be in the MCU, and no, she wasn't. She was in something different. But we're also going to come over here. Madam Web first reactions after the premiere, and this is honestly very shocking from the Hollywood Reporter, because usually they fill these articles up with posts that show how much people really enjoyed it, how many people actually loved going to see this movie in the theaters and stuff. And you start scrolling down. Morbius was better. Morbius was better. Hashtag Madam Web is embarrassing mess. Talented stars wasted on probably the worst comic book movie I have ever seen. filled with atrocious dialogue, awkward editing, and all around laughable structure. I sat there baffled scene by scene. Someone approved this. The memes will redeem it. Yeah, yeah, the memes are gonna redeem it, but then you're gonna have Sony say, "Oh my God, memes are going out all over the place because of this movie. We need to go try to put this movie out again." And it's not gonna work because they did that with Morbius. You continue to scroll down. Hashtag Madam Web is totally fine. There's really not a lot to say here. The leads are charming. Dakota Johnson is the witchy weirdo. The slasher hashtag Final Destination meets superhero vibes are there. Are there? Superhero vibes are there. Okay, I'm not the stupid one here. This person's just stupid. But there's just not a whole lot to it. Not a disaster, just kind of there. Not very a positive one. How you know how these people are? Sometimes they have to try to shill and it doesn't really work. Come down here to the Hollywood Handle. Hashtag Madam Web is a clunky, poorly written, messy, and sloppy movie packed with some mediocre editing and performances. Even though it had solid cinematography and an interesting concept, it couldn't be saved due to its terrible execution. Full review dropping at 9 a.m. Come down here. I was not, unfortunately, successfully entertained. Hashtag Madam Web is a series of misses and wasted opportunities, and not just for obvious reasons. I watched hashtag Madam Web, and it was bad. I tried to give it a chance, but sadly the poor execution didn't help it. The cast was awesome, but the performance were definitely disappointing. Unfortunately for me, hashtag Madam Web lacked the spark it needed in nearly every department. Writing, acting, action sequences. There are a few good moments with an excellent overall pacing, but G was this hard to get through. I think there was only one other actual kind tweet about Madam Web in this entire Hollywood Reporter thing, which basically there was only two in this long list from the Hollywood Reporter actually saying that this movie was good. Two. How bad do you have to be for this? How bad do you have to get that the Hollywood Reporter can only find two positive tweets about this movie? That tells you that this movie isn't going to be good. That tells you that nobody has high hopes for this movie, and that tells you that this movie is going to be yet another bomb from awful reviews, awful takes, nobody actually going to see the movie in the theaters, empty theaters, empty theaters, empty theaters, and all around negative scores across the board. This is going to be a tragedy. This is going to be a disaster of a movie, and it's going to be yet another knock at the door of what is Sony's Spider-Verse and how abysmal that is actually faring. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me get your guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it out, friends. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live. And I'll see you all on the next one. Bye for now.